Hi everyone. Today we are going to start with word problems from linear equations in two variables. Now, when we talk about word problems, NCERT doesn't have any more of these questions. Earlier they used to be. So, if possible, if you can get a hold of the older NCERT, well and good. Otherwise, you can get a PDF online. If you just type in old NCERT class 9 linear equations in two variables, you will get a PDF of the whole chapter, and there you have a list of word problems, or otherwise you can get them in various other books like R.D. Sharma, R.S. Agarwal. There are various other books, right? So now these word problems are highly important because when we talk about the case study related questions or even 3 markers from this chapter, such questions are actually worth taking down, worth practicing, because they give you a lot of exposure. Okay, so let's quickly start. We are going to deal with 3 questions in this video, but they are the most important questions of this chapter. Okay, so let's start. The first question is about taxi charge. It's a very practical question because these days, whenever you board a taxi, whether it's Ola, Uber, or even if you just talk about any auto services as well, this is the scenario which is actually used to make the payment, to charge the customer. Okay, so let's start. A taxi charge of rupees 20 for the first time for the first kilometer and rupees 12 per kilometer for subsequent distance covered. Now, what does this line mean? This line says that a rupees 20 is being charged for the first kilometer and rupees 12 for any subsequent kilometer. मतलब जब हम टैक्सी बोर्ड करते हैं, ठीक है, हम कितना भी डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल करें, अगर सपोज करो हम 10 किलोमीटर ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, फर्स्ट किलोमीटर का आपको 20 रुपीज लगेगा, और उसके बाद जो बचे हमारे 9 किलोमीटर्स, उसमें पर किलोमीटर आपको 12 रुपीज लगेंगे. Okay, this is what it means. Now, the next question: taking the total distance covered as x kilometers and total fare as rupees y, write a linear equation depicting the relation between x and y. अब हमें एक linear equation form करनी है over here, taking x and y as a core variables, where x is already being defined as the total distance being covered. मैंने अभी एक एग्जांपल दिया 10 किलोमीटर का, राइट? तो वहां पे हमारे पास था कि फर्स्ट किलोमीटर में हमें चार्ज हो रहा था 20 रुपीज. उसके बाद एवरी किलोमीटर वॉज बीइंग चार्ज एट रुपीज 12. तो हमारे पास यहाँ पे टोटल डिस्टेंस x है, तो बाकी कितने किलोमीटर बचे? x माइनस 1, राइट? एंड टोटल फेयर कितना लग रहा है? दैट इज y रुपीज. नाउ वी हैव टू फॉर्म an equation. After that, draw the graph between x and y. From your graph, find the taxi charges for covering 12 kilometer and 20 kilometer. अब there are so many parts to it. तो ये क्वेश्चन अपने में एक पूरी केस स्टडी है. ओके, क्यों? पहले हमें इक्वेशन फॉर्म करनी है. इक्वेशन ठीक फॉर्म होगी तभी हम उसको ग्राफ कर पाएंगे, और अगर हमारा ग्राफ ठीक होगा तभी हम 12 किलोमीटर और 20 किलोमीटर की वैल्यूज निकाल पाएंगे, राइट? सो एवरीथिंग इज सो मच डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द इनिशियल इक्वेशन. ओके, लेट्स स्टार्ट. The first thing that they have said that the taxi is being charged for rupees 20 for the first kilometer, right? Total distance हम कितना travel कर रहे हैं? Total distance we are traveling x kilometers, right? तो x minus 1 is the subsequent distance. क्यों subsequent distance क्यों हुआ? जितने भी हम किलोमीटर ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, चाहे वो 10 है, चाहे वो 20 है, चाहे वो 50 है, राइट? तो हर किसी डिस्टेंस में से जितना भी आपका डिस्टेंस है, उसमें से 1 किलोमीटर का डिफरेंट चार्ज है, बाकी सारे किलोमीटर्स का एक चार्ज है, राइट? तो x माइनस 1 हम उस चीज के लिए कर रहे हैं, राइट? नाउ हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू फॉर्म एन इक्वेशन? मैंने आपको बोला कि अगर 10 किलोमीटर हम ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं तो पहले किलोमीटर पे 20 रुपए लग रहे हैं, यानी 20 into 1. उसके बाद हमारे पास कितना बचते हैं? 9 किलोमीटर. 9 किलोमीटर में हमारे कितने पैसे लग रहे हैं? 12 रुपए पर किलोमीटर. दैट मीन्स 12 into 9. इसी तरह से चार्ज होता है, राइट? तो अब हम क्या करेंगे? वी आर गोइंग टू फॉर्म एन इक्वेशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ x एंड y. सो 12 रुपीज किस चीज के, सर 20 रुपीज किस चीज के लग रहे हैं? 20 रुपीज लग रहे हैं आपको सिर्फ फर्स्ट किलोमीटर, राइट? उसके बाद 12 रुपीज लग रहे हैं x माइनस 1 किलोमीटर के, और टोटल फेयर कितना बन रहा है? जब हम इन दोनों को सॉल्व कर लें तो हमारा टोटल फेयर होगा। यहाँ पे हमें टोटल फेयर गिवन है, दैट इज 1. ओके, तो दिस इज द initiation of the final linear equation over here, right? So what do we do? 20 times 1 is 20, and then 12 times x is 12x minus 12 equals 1. What did I do? I just expanded the brackets, or in a way applied distributive property. Okay, now what do we do over here? We have 20 minus 12, so we get 20 minus 12 is 8 plus 12x equals 1. This is your linear equation in two variables. It is not a standard form, and we are not required to actually give a standard form. Why? Because they didn't ask. They said write a linear equation depicting the relation between x and y. And yes, we have done our job. Okay, so this is your final linear equation for this taxi fare portion. Okay, now after this, they asked us to draw the graph. Okay, जब ग्राफ ड्रॉ करने की बारी आती है, स्पेशली इन लीनियर इक्वेशंस, वी आर सपोज टू टैबुलेट. टैबुलेट करने का मतलब हमें एक टेबल क्रिएट करना है बिटवीन द वैल्यूज ऑफ एक्स एंड वाई. पिछले वीडियो में भी आई हैड टॉट दैट हाउ टू क्रिएट अ टेबल, बट let me do that once again over here with respect to this word problem as well. Okay, now so we are going to create a table, and when we create a table, we should be taking minimum 3 values. Okay, why minimum 3 values? Let me just explain that. देखो, एक पॉइंट है, दूसरा पॉइंट है, इसको आप ज्वाइन करोगे, डेफिनेटली यू कैन ज्वाइन देम विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. लेकिन अगर आपका थर्ड पॉइंट एग्जिस्ट करेगा इस लाइन में कहीं भी, दैट विल इंश्योर कि यस, जब हम इन तीनों डॉट्स को कनेक्ट करेंगे, इट इज डेफिनेटली अ करेक्ट स्ट्रेट लाइन. बिकॉज अगर आपका एक डॉट यहाँ है, एक डॉट यहाँ है और एक डॉट यहाँ है, हम इन तीनों को कभी भी ज्वाइन करके एक स्ट्रेट लाइन नहीं फॉर्म कर सकते अगर इसमें कोई मिस्टेक है, राइट? सो 3 पॉइंट्स, 3 वैल्यूज एक्चुअली इंश्योर कि हमारा जो प्लॉटिंग है, हमारी जो कैलकुलेशंस है, एवरीथिंग इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. ओके, 2 डॉट से हमें वो नहीं पता चलता. इसीलिए व्हेन वी आर क्रिएटिंग अ टेबल, इट इज नेसेसरी टू टेक मिनिमम 3 वैल्यूज. मैक्सिमम यू कैन, इफ यू वांट, यू कैन टेक 5 वैल्यूज, बट 3 मिनिमम भी है, 3 is more than enough also. Why to waste time? Okay, so first let's create a quick table. टेबल बनाना जरूरी है बिकॉज टेबल से हमें वैल्यूज क्लियरली पता चलती है. Okay, so now I have created a table. First we will be writing x, then we write y. Let me write the equation first over here. 8 plus 12x equals to y. यही हमारी इक्वेशन थी, राइट? नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द टैक्सी फेयर ओवर हियर. कभी भी टैक्सी फेयर में नेगेटिव नहीं होता, ड्राइवर आपको पैसे नहीं देगा, राइट? तो x और y, ना ही हम नेगेटिव डिस्टेंस चल रहे हैं यहाँ पे. डिस्टेंस इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू बी पॉजिटिव ओवर हियर, एंड सो द टोटल फेयर, राइट? तो हमें नेगेटिव वैल्यूज नहीं लेनी. यस, यू कैन टेक 0, राइट? यू कैन डेफिनेटली टेक 0 ओवर हियर, बट डू नॉट टेक नेगेटिव वैल्यूज. क्यों? एक तो ग्राफ बनाना आसान रहेगा. जब वैल्यूज पॉजिटिव होंगी, आपको सिर्फ फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट में ध्यान रखना है, नेगेटिव क्वाड्रेंट्स पे नहीं जाना, राइट? सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट वैल्यू. आई एम टेकिंग द फर्स्ट वैल्यू ऑफ x एज 0. ओके, अब फर्स्ट वैल्यू 0 ली, सो 12 टाइम्स 0, दैट मीन्स मेरा फेयर कितना हो गया? 8 रुपीज लग रहे हैं, राइट? सो इट इज 8. देन second, I am taking the second value as 5. Okay, so what do we get? 8 plus 12 times 5 equals what? So what are we getting? We are getting, ये ज्यादा बड़ी वैल्यू होगी. Let's take a छोटा सा वैल्यू. Okay, the reason मैं छोटी वैल्यू में क्यों ले रही हूँ? Because जब हम कार्टेशियन प्लेन में प्लॉट करेंगे, राइट, तो आपको बहुत बड़ी बड़ी वैल्यूज नहीं तो लेनी पड़ेंगी. तो उस चीज को अवॉइड करने के लिए आई एम टेकिंग स्मॉलर वैल्यू. सो लेट्स टेक 1 ओवर हियर. सो व्हाट डू वी गेट? 8 plus 12 is 20. Y की वैल्यू हमारे पास आ गई 20. नेक्स्ट टेक 2. सो थर्ड वैल्यू इज 2. ये भी अभी कैलकुलेशन में छोटा नहीं है, राइट? इट इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू बी अ बिगर वैल्यू बिकॉज व्हेन वी डू 12 times 2, that is 24. 24 plus 8 is 32. So here we have got 3 set of values. The first one being 0, 8, second one being 1 and 20, and the third one being 2 and 32. Right? Now, let's start plotting. Okay. I have already made the lines over here. And if you see, I didn't make the whole Cartesian plane. I did not make all the 4 quadrants. That is intentional over here because क्वेश्चन हमारा किस चीज के बारे में बात कर रहा है? डिस्टेंस, फेयर के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, वो नेगेटिव वैल्यूज नहीं होती. सो व्हाई टू वेस्ट स्पेस ऑन द पेज एंड व्हाई टू वेस्ट एनर्जी एंड टाइम बाय प्लॉटिंग द अदर कोऑर्डिनेट्स एंड राइटिंग द नेगेटिव वैल्यूज. ओके, तो यहाँ हमारा 0 है, ये एरो है फॉर x एंड द अपवर्ड एरो फॉर y. It is very important to mark these arrows to write x, y and 0 every time. पेपर में आपके 3 ग्राफ आते हैं, तीनों बारी आपको ये काम करना है. ओके, वरना सब कुछ ठीक होते हुए भी यू विल लूज मार्क्स. ओके, नाउ हमारी इक्वेशन है 12 क्या है, 8 + 12x = y. राइट? ओके, एक और चीज देखो, हम स्टेप बाय स्टेप क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं, बट स्टिल वी नीड टू टेक केयर ऑफ द रिमेनिंग पार्ट्स आल्सो. क्वेश्चन में क्या कह रहा है, फ्रॉम द ग्राफ फाइंड द टैक्सी चार्जेस फॉर कवरिंग 12 किलोमीटर एंड 20 किलोमीटर आल्सो. मतलब कितनी बड़ी वैल्यूज आएंगी बड़ी वैल्यूज. तो उसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे, लेट्स सी. वी आर गोइंग टू प्लॉट. यहाँ पे हम प्लॉट करते हैं 10, 20, 30, और वी कैन टेक इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ, हमें 12 और 20 लेना है, सो वी कैन टेक इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ 5, 10. वी हैव टू चेंज द स्केल. ओके, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी 1 2 3 4 5. अगर हम 1 2 3 4 5 देते हैं तो हम 12 और 20 x पे कैसे लेके जाएंगे? 20 यूनिट्स तक प्लॉट करना पड़ेगा, बहुत छोटा छोटा हो जाता है. इफ यू वांट टू डू दैट you can do it, but I'll avoid. Okay, so we are having 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and that's all, right? And now over here, okay, y पे हमें क्या यूनिट्स प्लॉट करनी है? आप ये समझो कि अगर इक्वेशन में हमारी इक्वेशन थी 8 + 12x = y. अब उन्होंने कहा 12 किलोमीटर, तो 12 × 12 कितना होता है? 12 × 12 is 144. 144 + 8 is 152. यानी हमारी वैल्यू 152 आनी चाहिए y एक्सिस पे, राइट? अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट और क्या आता है? और आता है हमारा दूसरी वैल्यू है 20, राइट? तो 20 × 12 is 240. तो 240 + 8 is 248, राइट? कितनी बड़ी वैल्यू है? तो वो वैल्यू भी हमारी y एक्सिस पे आनी चाहिए. इसका मतलब आपको यहाँ पे कुछ 20s की टर्म में लेना पड़ेगा, या if you want you can take in terms of 50s also. Okay, so I am going to do that. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, which is absolutely fine. Okay, यहाँ पे एक क्वेश्चन आता है कि मैम क्या हम इस तरह से ले सकते हैं? हमने x एक्सिस पे तो अलग स्केल लिया, y एक्सिस पे हम अलग स्केल ले रहे हैं. Yes, that is absolutely fine. You can take different scales on the respective axis, but सिर्फ एक चीज ensure करना that your units on the x and the y have to be equidistant. देखो मैंने क्या किया, x पे मैंने every unit is 5 kilometers का gap है, and similarly y axis पे every unit is going to be 50 rupees का gap because it is in rupees. And yes, when we are taking a different scale, ऊपर scale mention कर दो. There is no harm in doing that. Okay, so let us do that. 200, 250 and 300. Okay, so let's write the scale over here. 1 unit x axis is 5 kilometers and y axis 50 rupees. Okay, ध्यान रखो नीचे क्या है, डिस्टेंस है. यू कैन राइट इट डाउन. ओके, डिस्टेंस इन किलोमीटर्स. और यहां पे क्या है, इट्स अ फेयर इन रुपीस, राइट? ओके, नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट प्लॉटिंग. अब हमने जो वैल्यूज दी थी वो बहुत छोटी है, बट दैट्स ओके, दैट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प अस. द फर्स्ट वैल्यू वाज 0.8. अब यहाँ पे अगर हम एक आइडिया से लें तो इट इज गोइंग टू बी 10 ओवर हियर, 20, 30, 40, राइट? 0.8 का मतलब ये एक मेरी वैल्यू है 0.8. दूसरी वैल्यू एग्जिस्ट करती थी 1 and 20. तो 1 मेरा यहाँ पे है and 20 is here. This is another value, right? Guys, it is possible, since I am not doing in a proper grid paper, so it is possible that I may not be getting exact values. But when you do such questions, even for practice sake, do it properly on a proper graph paper so that you get clarity that yes, whatever you are doing, you are getting exact values, and it is going to be hands-on experience before you attempt such questions directly in your school paper. Okay. Now, the next value and the last one was 2 and 32. So if my 2 is over here, that means 32 somewhere exists over here. Sorry, not here, but somewhere here, right? Now I'm just going to join them. Okay, this is what I have joined. This is my equation of a line, right? Now, what I will be doing, we need two more values for x at 12 and 20, right? So 12 is considerably over here and 20 we know, right? So how do you do it on your graph paper? You have to keep your scale like this, exactly at 12, right? And join. Join with the help of dotted lines. Please make sure it is always dotted lines, right? And similarly, we will be doing for 20 also. The question said to find the values on the graph. So yes, we have to do it on the graph only, right? I have connected at 12 and 20, right? Now I am going to connect for these dotted lines for where it exists on y. Okay, we had calculated the value for 12 was 144 plus 8, which was 152, right? So here we are getting slightly above than 150, and hence we are not wrong. My estimate of making them at equal distance is actually good, and I'm happy about it, right? Then it was 20. For 20, the value was coming as 248, and see how precisely we are getting around 250. It is not that bad estimate, guys. So here we get. And now, what do we do on the graph? We have to first write the equation. So I am going to write the equation over here. It was 8 plus 12x equals y, right? And this point, we have to mark both the points. The values over here is 12 and 152. And the value over here is 20 and 248. Right? So we got the answers. This is your first answer. This is your second answer. When the question says find the values on the graph, you have to do everything on the graph. And also, guys, one very important thing, no pen on the graph paper unless your teacher says, right? बिकॉज ग्राफ पे कुछ भी छोटी सी मिस्टेक हो गई तो उस पेन को इरेज नहीं कर सकते और स्कूल में एक्स्ट्रा ग्राफ नहीं मिलता. ओके, सो प्लीज इंश्योर दैट यू यूज ओनली पेंसिल. डू इट नीटली. नीटनेस के मार्क्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं ग्राफ पे. ट्राई नॉट टू इरेज मेनी थिंग्स ऑन द ग्राफ, अदरवाइज मार्किंग्स रह जाती है, निशान रह जाते हैं. ओके, नाउ वी आर डन विद दिस क्वेश्चन. सो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, अब ये क्वेश्चन क्या कह रहा है? This question says there are two scales of measuring the temperature of a liquid, namely Kelvin and Fahrenheit. This question is with respect to Kelvin and Fahrenheit. But if you see books, you will find a question with respect to Celsius and Fahrenheit as well. So थोड़ा सा फर्क है दोनों क्वेश्चन में, but overall conceptually they are same. Okay. The relation between the two scales is given by an equation which is F equals 9 by 5 K minus 273 plus 32. Okay. The first part says find the temperature of the liquid in Fahrenheit when it is 313. Okay. 313 K. अब हमें क्या करना है? We have to solve it over here. K की वैल्यू गिवन है आपको, इक्वेशन में सब्स्टिट्यूट करना है एंड कैलकुलेट करना है, राइट? सो F equals 9 by 5 313 minus 273 plus 32. This is what we get. So 9 by 5 313 minus 273, it is 0. 31 minus 27 is 40 plus 32, right? This gives us 8. So we get 72 plus 32, and that is 104 degree Fahrenheit. We got the answer. The first answer is 104 degree Fahrenheit. What did I do? I just substituted the value of K because it was given in kelvins, right? Now, second part. If the temperature of the liquid is 158 Fahrenheit, then express it in Kelvin. अब हमें यहाँ पे क्या given है? हमें Fahrenheit में temperature given है. So we are going to substitute this 158 value on the left side. Okay. So we get 158 equals 9 by 5 K minus 273 plus 32. अब हमें इसको solve करना है. So what we are going to do? 158 minus 32. पहले 32 तो transpose होगा. We are left with 9 by 5 times K minus 273. Okay. So 158 minus 32 gives us 126 equals 9 by 5 times K minus 273. अब क्या transpose करेंगे? We are going to do 126 into 5 by 9. I took the whole fraction on the other side, and since the fraction was in multiplication to the bracket, when it went to the other side, it went into division. Division in the sense, उधर जाके वो reciprocal हो गई है, flip हो गई है, and that leaves us with K minus 273. अब 126 और 9 can they get cancelled? 126 divided with 9, we are having this thing as, it is giving me, it is giving me 40. Oh, no, sorry, just a moment. It is giving me 4 into 5. 14 into 5 equals K minus 273, right? So 14 times 5 is 70. Now, 273 will come on this side equals K. So this gives us 343 degree equals K. And this is your temperature in Kelvin when we were given 158 Fahrenheit. Okay. Now, the third part of the question. Draw the graph of the linear equation over here. Right. Now they are asking us to draw the graph. Okay. ये वाले जो क्वेश्चन होते हैं ना, ये ग्राफिकली थोड़ा सा गंदा हो जाता है बिकॉज आप इसमें अगर आप नॉर्मल सी वैल्यू उठाओगे, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी एन इजी टास्क बिकॉज गंदी गंदी वैल्यूज है. 273 सब्ट्रैक्ट करना है, 32 सब्ट्रैक्ट करना है, राइट? सो यू हैव टू बी रियली केयरफुल कि आप यहाँ पे कौन सी वैल्यूज उठाओ सच दैट आपका ग्राफ बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेट ना हो. Okay, so obviously since I have done this question number of times, I'll be picking up few values which I will tell you, right? Now, I'll be making the table on this slide. And again, I will be taking only 3 values. I don't like to take many values over here. So first K and then F. Okay, now, पहले हमारे पास इक्वेशन में क्या है? -273 हो रहा है, पहली वैल्यू 273 ले लेते हैं, राइट? उससे क्या होगा? ब्रैकेट हमारी 0 हो जाएगी, वैल्यू जो बचेगी वो सिर्फ 32 बचेगी. इट इज वेरी इजी, राइट? और हमें स्केल में क्या लेना है वो भी आपको धीरे धीरे समझ आ जाएगा. ओके, नेक्स्ट अगर हम यहाँ पे ले लें 283 लेते हैं तो क्या बचता है ब्रैकेट में? 10. 9 by 5 into 10, that is 18 plus 32, which gives us 50, right? Now, the next value, let's take 293. Why am I taking that? Because the difference is going to be 10, 20, which are easily divisible with 5, and the calculations are becoming simpler. So try to understand the logic behind taking these values. अब हमें क्या मिलता है? 9 by 5 into 20, 5 और 20 cancel हुए, 4 बचता है. 9 into 4, 36, 36 plus 32. So that gives us 68, right? So here we get the value of 68. Everything is positive. K की values बड़ी बड़ी हैं. F की is still fine, right? So let's see how to plot now over here. Y, X and 0, right? So what do we get over here? K की values क्या थी? 273. So I am going to start over here at 200, 250, 300, 350 and so on. ओके 50 के यूनिट्स के लिए, लेकिन बाद में 50 है, पहले 200 का गैप है, तो यहाँ पे मैंने किंक ड्रॉ किया है because the first gap is 200 units. After that, the gap is 50 units. So please ensure that. Okay. Next, K key values 32, 50, 68. We can take that in terms of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Right? So यहाँ पे आपको किंक बनाने की जरूरत नहीं, because जितना जीरो से गैप है उतना ही बाद में 10 यूनिट्स का गैप every time we are having over here. Okay. This is what we get. Now, let's plot the coordinates. The first coordinate is 273 and 32. When we say 273, it is going to lie somewhere here and 32 somewhere here. Okay. Obviously, I am making it with an estimation. Next, we have 283 with 50. So again, it is going to be closer to this 283 and 50. So it is on this line precisely. Then 293 and 68. 293 and 68 means it is here. Okay. Now we have to connect them with the help of a scale. And yes, guys, whenever you do that, you have to actually do with the help of a scale only. So here we got our line. Now we can actually highlight the points. First, second, and third. Okay. Once we are done with the line, we need to write the equation. It is compulsory to write the equation as well. The equation was 9/5 K minus 273 plus 32. Okay. F equals to this. We have temperature in K on the x-axis and temperature in F on the y-axis. It is necessary to mark that. Now, there was another part to the question. Using the graph, fill in the blanks given below. 95 degree Fahrenheit. In what? For Kelvin. 95 degree Fahrenheit means they are talking about now 95. Okay. So that means we had to make it for 100 also. It is 90. Then it is 100. Okay. So now they're asking 95. So let's join that with the help of a dotted line. As I told, always ensure it's a dotted line. Okay. Let me just make a straight line for that. I may not be getting exact value. Again, it's a freehand drawing that I'm doing, though with the help of a scale, but still, बहुत estimation से काम चल रहा है मेरा. Okay. Okay. Then the next value they had told us was 300K. So, okay, quite close to it. But it was close on the Kelvin scale, but it is not very close on the Fahrenheit scale. Okay, so now we'll write down the coordinates. This is the second part. The answer is 300, and what we get over here is nearly 84. The value over here, we are having, it is coming around 310. I'm just taking an estimate. And what was it over here? 95. So the roughly answers that I have written, when you do with the help of calculation, with the help of substitution in the equation, the answers may differ. Okay. So that's all with respect to the second question. Fine. Now let's start with the next question and the last for this video. Draw the graphs of the lines 2x plus y equals 6 and 2x minus y plus 2 equals 0. Shade the region bounded by these lines and the x-axis. Find the area of the shaded region. So what are we supposed to do? There are two lines given to us. We are supposed to draw them on the graph. And then we are supposed to shade the region that is going to be enclosed by these lines and the x-axis. And once we have got the area, we need to find the once we have shaded the area, we need to calculate the area of that shaded region. Okay. So पहले हमें क्या करना होता है जब हमें कोई भी लाइन प्लॉट करनी है, कोई भी इक्वेशन हमें ड्रॉ करनी है, what do? We always tabulate, right? So let's start with the first one. The first equation is 2x plus y equals 6, right? इसका टेबल क्रिएट करेंगे and again we will take only 3 values, x, y. So I'll take, अब यहाँ पे we do not have any foundation of taking any negative, positive. So we can take either of the values, right? First, let's have x equals 0. So that gives me y equals 6. Now, if I take x as 1, what will happen? 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus y equals 6. That means y turns out to be 4. And the last value I'm taking, it is 2. So it becomes 4 plus y equals 6. That means y comes out to be 2. Okay. Now, the next one. The next equation is 2x minus y plus 2 equals 0. So we need to create a table for this one as well. Now, let's substitute the values. So if x is 0, what do we get? We get y equals to 2. Now, if x is, let's take negative 1. Okay. So when x is negative 1, what happens? Let's do the calculations. Negative 2, negative y plus 2. Getting cancelled, y comes out to be 0. Then if x is negative 2, what happens? Negative 4, negative y plus 2 equals 0. So that gives me negative 4 plus 2. That is positive 2. Sorry, negative 2. Negative 2, negative y equals 0. That leaves us with negative y equals 2. And y comes out to be negative 2 again over here, right? So अभी हमने क्या किया, हमने दोनों इक्वेशंस के टेबल्स बना लिए, कोऑर्डिनेट्स कलेक्ट कर लिए. Now the next step is to draw on a Cartesian plane. So let's start with that. I had already made a grid over here, but didn't mark anything as such. So x 0, x dash, since we are taking negative values also, y is 0 and y dash. Now, plotting them equidistant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. I got till negative 5, right? And here we have, similarly on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and the last, negative 6, right? Now, starting for the first values, 0, 6, 1, 4, 2, 2. Okay, 0, 6 is going to be here. Then we have 2, 2. It's going to be here. I forgot the middle value, 1, 4. So 1, 4. This is what we get. Let's plot them and let's see if we are able to draw one straight line joining. Yeah, sahi. So estimation is actually good over here, right? This is the first equation we have got. Now, I'll write the equation on top of this line. So the equation was 2x plus y equals 6. 2x plus y equals 6. इक्वेशन लिखना इसलिए जरूरी होता है सो दैट व्हेन यू आर डूइंग द फाइनल थिंग्स यू गेट अ क्लैरिटी कि ये वाली जो लाइन थी कौन सी इक्वेशन की है. ओके, नाउ टॉप स्टार्टिंग विद द सेकंड वन. 0, 2 minus 1, 0. 0, 2. Here we have minus 1, 0. So that is on the x-axis. And the last coordinate was minus 2, minus 2. Here we get, right? Now let's join them. It's not coming too precise, but still it will, we have to work it out, right? Guzara karna padega. So here we have, right? Now, what had they asked? They had asked, let's read the question again. Find the area of the, first of all, shade the region bounded by these lines and the x-axis. Okay, अब हमें shade करना है. So when we are shading over here, what do we get? We are supposed to shade like we can put the strokes over here, right? So I have shaded the lines and the x-axis. That is what they had asked. Now the last step is finding the area. How to find the area of such shapes on the Cartesian plane, I had already taught in the previous video. You can refer to that. The link is already attached in the description below. However, I'm still doing it over here again, explaining properly. Now, when we are talking about the area of a triangle, the formula is half base height, right? Now, what is the base over here? I'll just highlight that. The base is from -1 to 3, -1 till 3, -1 से लेके 3 तक. तो कितने यूनिट्स हैं दोनों के बीच में? You have 1 unit on the left and 3 units on the right. That means total 4 units है. So आपके बेस की जो लेंथ हो गई, that is 4 units. Now, similarly, what is the height? Now, when we are talking about the height is from the apex, that is the top vertex, till the base. वो भी हमें कितनी नजर आ रही है? It is going on till 4 units on the y. So that means height is also 4 over here, right? इसको cancel किया, ये हो गया. What do we get? 2 into 4, that is 8. 8 square units is your area in this question. And I forgot one thing over here on this graph, and that is marking the second equation. Okay, so second equation क्या mark करनी थी? 2x minus y plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so here we have the complete graph. We plotted them on the grid. We shaded the enclosed region between the two lines and the x-axis. And after that, we calculated the area by understanding how to consider the base and the height as well. So in a nutshell, in this video, we had done 3 questions. The first question with respect to taxosphere, the second question with respect to conversion between Fahrenheit and Kelvin, and the third question where we plotted 2 equations, shaded and calculated the area. Do practice these questions. They are highly important questions. I'll repeat that. Very, very important questions. Do practice them from this video, from the books that you can have, and do practice. And in case you have any doubts, you can always comment. Happy learning.